Hi, I'm Heather Telford and I'm going to show you how I created these cards by making my own stencils with dies and Grafix film. I used 3 different types of film, and I also saved the centers that I cut out so that I could do some alcohol ink panels as well. I've been making a lot of stencils lately in various ways, and I've been using different films from Grafix. Grafix has quite a few films, and one of the ones I use to make a stencil, it's hard to see, of course, because it's clear, is the Stencil Film 0.005 inch. So it's quite a thin one, but it's a shiny surface. They also have a blue stencil film, looks like this, and it's slightly thicker. It's 0.007 in thickness. And I've made a lot of stencils also out of Dura-Lar matte. And it is slightly translucent and has a matte finish. I'm going to demonstrate how well this blue film cuts. I've got my die cutting machine, I've got the basic platform, I've got one cutting plate, got the metal shim, the plastic film, stencil film, the die, and I'll just put a little bit of tape on there, and another cutting plate. And hear the crunchy cutting sounds. Up and back. Okay, I went up and back 3 times. That should be enough. If you go too many times, you risk having little feathery extra bits on the sides. And I do have a few of them because it might have shifted slightly, but I find that once back and forth isn't always enough. Sometimes it's worked, but sometimes I've needed a couple of extra turns. But to get rid of some of those little extra bits, I've just got a large piece of masking tape, and I'm just going to pull off some of those little extra bits with that tape. Quicker than doing it by hand, and there you go. You can see this is the mask and this is the stencil. Got a piece of watercolour paper here and some distress inks and some blending brushes. So here I've got, this is the blue film, not the one I just cut, but exactly the same. So let's start with that. Now I cut quite a intricate die with a lot of detail just to show that it would cut through the film. You could do something with without so many little itty bits and pieces. So that is the thickest stencil film. Here is the thinner one. So this time we're getting the negative. So I've got just a nice little ghosty outline there. The other film that I cut from is the matte Dura-Lar, so a little bit easier to see than the clear one. So if anything, I think this really thin matte one stayed still the best, maybe because it's matte and it's a little grippy. You see how sharp that design is. Just got a little bit of water here. Just going to add some droplets. So for this design, I mainly used the stencils, so the piece that I had cut the ferns out of, although I did bring in one of the actual ferns to blend around. But what I prefer to do with the ferns that are cut out of the stencil, so the masks, I like to use them on alcohol ink. So this is a piece of Dura-Bright White that Grafix makes, both as Dura-Bright White and as white craft plastic. It's quite thick, and it has a slightly shinier side and a slightly matte side. And the inks move a little faster on the shiny side. So let's just put it on the shiny side. I'm going to put some isopropyl alcohol down to start with. And then I'm going to drop some alcohol ink in there. This one's called Meadow. So this panel has been drying, and I did come along thinking that I was filming, and I helped with the drying with my little tool, and that's why we've got some splatter there, because it was very wet and I just pumped air around and that splattered some of the alcohol. This has just been sitting here drying, probably for a good 20 minutes. So I'm going to take them off now, and you can see the effect. What is amazing about this is that I was patient enough to let these totally dry. There are times when I have lifted masks off the alcohol ink panel and watched the alcohol start to move again, but this time it was totally dry, and that's what you're after. Thanks for joining me. I hope you'll try making your own stencils with Grafix films. For more inspiration, visit my blog, heathertelford.com, or the Grafix site, grafixarts.com.